Imagine conquering the known world, building this massive empire that stretches from the sea all the way to the Euphrates River, and your secret weapon wasn't a ruthless military at all.
Right, yeah, which is exactly what you'd expect it to be.
Exactly. It was actually how you treated the absolute poorest, like the most helpless person in your kingdom. Welcome to today's deep dive, where we're looking at a text from antiquity.
Yeah, specifically, we're digging into Psalm 72 from the English Standard Version.
Right, which is titled, Give the King Your Justice. And, on the surface, sure, it's a religious text.
But if you read it closely, it really operates as this highly specific, almost totally counterintuitive blueprint for ancient leadership.
Okay, let's unpack this, because while it is this ancient religious source, it really reads like a straight-up job description for a ruler.
Yeah, totally. Before we even look at a king's wealth or their massive monuments, we have to look at their core daily duties. And the explicit mandate here skips all the usual bragging.
Right, there's no mention of, like, crushing rival armies or whatever.
Right. The king is tasked to judge the poor with justice, deliver the needy, and literally crush the oppressor. It even explicitly says the blood of the weak is precious in his sight.
Which, morally sounds great, but let's be real here. Think of it like a modern CEO's performance review.
Oh, that's a really good way to look at it.
Right. Because instead of maximizing profit or shareholder value, this ancient king's ultimate KPI is entirely based on how well the most vulnerable citizens are surviving.
Yeah, and if you're an ancient king surrounded by enemy empires, spending all your time worrying about the vulnerable seems, like a quick way to get invaded.
Right, you totally think so. So why does focusing on the poor actually matter for the whole kingdom in this source?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the text creates this direct causal link where social justice triggers physical and environmental flourishing.
Wait, really? Like protecting the poor makes the crops grow?
Literally, yes. Righteous rule is described like rain that falls on the mown grass.
Oh.
Yeah, the text says things like, let the mountains bear prosperity, and suddenly there's grain waving on the mountaintops, and cities are blossoming.
Okay, I get poetic license, but it sounds almost like magical propaganda. Like you run a fair court system and the mountains just magically grow food.
Yeah.
Is there functional logic there?
To the ancient mind, absolutely. You have to understand their worldview. The king maintains strict moral order, which maintains cosmic order.
So justice is what keeps the universe functioning correctly.
Exactly. Fair courts literally guarantee good rain and impossible harvests.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's an ancient formula for systemic stability. You secure the bottom of society, and the land produces an unnatural overflow of food.
Right, the whole system thrives. And that domestic environmental success is exactly what serves as the launch pad for massive international power.
Yeah, the scale of dominion here is huge. It goes from the sea to sea, and from the river, which a footnote actually specifies is the Euphrates, all the way to the ends of the earth.
And it mentions enemies licking the gust, right?
Yeah. And it drops names like the kings of Tarshish, Sheba, and Seba, bringing gifts and tribute, which, for the time, basically meant the absolute furthest reaches of the known wealthy world.
They're essentially global superpowers voluntarily lining up to hand over their GDP, and not because of brute force either.
Right, it's attracted by the sheer gravitational pull of a perfectly just, ridiculously prosperous society.
Exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because you have to wonder who actually wrote this master plan.
Right, the authorship is a huge twist.
Because the text is subtitled Of Solomon. So you assume it's this famously wealthy king laying out his own grand strategy.
But then you hit verse 20, and it abruptly declares the prayers of David, the son of Jesse, are ended.
Which just completely reframes everything we just analyzed.
It really does. It isn't Solomon's manifesto. It reads as a passing of the torch. It's David, his predecessor, his father praying for his son.
So David is handing over the keys to the kingdom and giving Solomon the one standard that will make his royal legacy endure, as long as the sun.
Right. True power and lasting fame aren't about military might at all. It's an uncompromising defense of the vulnerable.
So what does this all mean for us? It means in this source, lasting power is inextricably rooted in protecting the people who need it most.
It really forces you to completely rethink what makes a nation strong from the inside out.
It totally does.
Uh-huh.
And it leaves you with this provocative thought to mull over. If we applied the Psalm 72 metric to modern global leaders, judging the ultimate success of their administrations entirely by how they treat the most helpless in their societies, how many of them would actually deserve the tribute of nations?